Earlier, you heard Kwame Pianim, economists of great repute. He mentioned the year when he was at the Ministry of Finance, and myself and John, we turned and looked at each other. 1970. Where were we? All right. Now, let me go and bring on, I think I'll start with Dr. Apaak on the question of the education free SHS policy, because John has given us, something to think about. And Kwame Pianim also supports the point that that is not something that you should be looking at, touching at all. Dr. Apaak, you and your party have been advocating the need to look at this. Of course, there have been other independent researchers who have also said there's a need to target. What do you say?
Something, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Very well. Let me say good morning to you and my fellow panelists, and of course to greet the people of Busa South. Something, it is important to put on record that when the NDC and our flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, as well as other astute personalities in the educational sector, called for a review of the free senior school policy, that call is not to suggest that we are arguing with the quantum of resources that the state is putting into the program to ensure that we derive the needed outcomes. Our call for review has always been predicated on what we consider to be implementation challenges. And so, yes, I would agree with both Kwame Pianim and my good friend, Dr. John Kuma, that if you were to look at the expenditure as far as the free senior school is concerned, and you were right, in the last 7 years, what government has proposed, for which Parliament has given approval, is just slightly above 11 billion. Clearly, that cannot be a huge amount that I believe has contributed to our current woes or our current economic challenges. But let me be quick to add that I find it rather interesting that John Kuma has made a very forceful argument in defense of the cost of implementing the policy. But what I want to avert his mind to is this. Many members of his own party have sought to argue that one of the reasons why we are where we are, one of the reasons why government or public expenditure has ballooned is because of government investment in policies, including the free senior school policy. So I am happy that today we all agree that investment in providing free education to our wards of secondary school going age is not and cannot be said to have contributed to our current predicament. Now, Samson, I have taken the time to look at the IMF report, and in particular, the portions that have to do with education. I've also taken the time to look at what government itself said in terms of social spending and what it is expecting to do. Now, when the IMF speaks about the flagship program or policy, the free senior school policy, and acknowledges the fact that it has led to an increase in enrollment, but with poor learning outcomes, I think that is very, very significant. It is largely because of that component of poor learning outcomes that justifies the call by John Mahama, the likes of Professor Ite, Professor Demensa, the likes of Kofi Asare of Education Watch, and Dr. Pate of Institute of Educational Studies. Are we getting value for money? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because we ought to get an educated population at the secondary level, which is well prepared to take up places in tertiary institutions. Right? Look, you can call a few of my colleagues who are still at the universities and lecturers and ask them the quality of students who are coming through these days. They will tell you that the quality is unsatisfactory. I know for a fact that there are agitations from colleagues who are still in academia proposing the need to institute an entrance examination, because we have students who write WASI, get very good grades, and yet when they get to the universities and other tertiary institutions, they are struggling to cope with tertiary level educational activity.
And that is attributable to free SHS?
Hello?
That is attributable to free SHS? Is it free SHS that is to blame for the quality or lack of it that you talk about?
Well, clearly, the senior high school is the feeder level that feeds into tertiary. So when you have lecturers at the tertiary level complaining about the quality of students that they have to deal with, then we must go back to look at the source of the students who go on to take positions in the tertiary level. And look, when John Kuma speaks about WASI and the fact that we are the best, what he's failing to add is that since 2020, the WASI that Ghanaian students have written is exclusive to Ghana. In the wake of COVID-19, there was a situation that emerged, which then caused WAIC to try and customize its program to suit the conditions of different member nation states. So since then, the Ghanaian variant of WASI has only been written by Ghanaians. So what I'm saying is that we have no legitimate basis to compare. But be as it may, the point we want to make is this. The free senior high school policy is a good policy, but we believe that it still continues to be bedeviled with implementation challenges. And that is the reason for the call for a review. Let's take another look at it. Let's identify the areas where the program is doing well. We know for a fact that when it comes to issues of feeding, there is a challenge there. We know for a fact that we are still grappling with inadequate academic and residential spaces. We know for a fact that contrary to government's pledge to cover the cost of ICT and library as part of the mosaic of free, since 2017, when the program started, not even one cedi has been remitted by government to cover ICT and library fees.
Consequently,
so what I'm saying is that
consequently, your kind of review will rather increase the budget for free SHS. Is that it?
No, our kind of review would bring efficiency, it will make the program sustainable, and it will give us value for money. For example, there's no reason why we should maintain a centralized food distributory system where we sit in Accra and give fat contracts to, by and large, persons affiliated to a political party who sometimes undersupply the quantities of various food items that they ought to be supplying. Why can't we devolve it, decentralize it, to allow for the schools to engage their own suppliers to supply them the food, for example? Why can't we bring on board the private schools to fully participate in the delivery of the program? Why do we still have to continue to sideline the parent-teacher associations when we know that traditionally they have contributed in no mean measure to ensure that our secondary schools operate to the maximum efficiency possible? So all these are ideas that we believe when we sit around the table, we can have a conversation and to look at the best way forward. Our argument is to say that the amount invested is too much. We are calling for efficiency, and we believe that all of this that we are speaking about, if we were to do them, would bring about an improvement in the program in a way that will be commensurate.
Thank you very much.
With the resources that we are putting into the program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Clement Apaak. Dr. Clement Apaak is MP for Bulsa South and Deputy Ranking Member, Education Committee of Parliament. So